Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are your hosts. Movie Club is the show where we pick a movie every week and discuss it just like a book club. On today's show, we are concluding our May month-long theme of looking at films directed by women. And our film this week is the family drama Aftersun. Our thoughts and more coming up on Movie Club. Released in 2022, Aftersun was directed by Charlotte Wells and stars Paul Mescal, Frankie Corio, and Brooklyn Tolson. Sophie reflects on the shared joy and private melancholy of a holiday she took with her father 20 years earlier. Memories fill the gaps between camcorder footage as she tries to reconcile the father she knew with the troubled man she didn't. The film currently has a 4.1 out of 5 on Letterboxd and is ranked 308 on its top 500. The film was nominated for one Academy Award for Best Actor for Paul Mescal. Before we dive into our thoughts, we do want to issue a spoiler warning for the film. We'll be discussing plot points, twists, revelations, and everything that happens over the course of the movie, and don't want to ruin it for you. Also, the film does deal with a heavy topic, depending on, on how you want to look at it. But we do recommend watching it first, then coming back here so you're not spoiled. But stay tuned to the end of the show to not only find out what movie we're covering next week, but what our June theme will be. Alrighty, Kevin. So Aftersun was my pick this week. And honestly, I just picked it off a list of highly rated and acclaimed female-directed films.
Oh, hey.
That was it.
You know what? Worked out.
There you go. I obviously the first time I had heard about this movie was seeing Paul Mescal be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor after seeing it not get any nominations at any other awards show all year long. So it was one of those ones where it was like, did they really did they pay money to get him nominated? But no, I think he's in there because of his own skill, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yes. Had you heard of this movie before seeing it?
Absolutely not. I have heard nothing about it. I just I read the synopsis before I watched it, and that's how I got into it. So,
yeah. All right. Sounds good to me. Well, let's go ahead and talk about this movie. So, again, I'm going to be spoiling the movie. So, warning. But the film also deals with some weighty topics. If any of them are triggers for you, then go ahead and skip this video, or you can skip to the end of it to see what we think. So, but let's go ahead and dive into this movie. I didn't really know anything about this movie going in, and walked out loving the movie.
Yeah, I mean, it deals with a heavy topic that I don't know if it doesn't get a topic put up in movies a lot with what's happening with the dad, but it goes about it so well too, because at the beginning you are on vacation with them, and then you start just to notice the different subtleties of what is going on between the dynamic between the daughter and the father, who are played absolutely fantastically in this movie. Even though Sophie, Frankie's her real name, perfect. Couldn't have thought of anybody else to play this, and she played it so well during this.
Yeah, I think both she and Paul Mescal are incredible here. I think Paul Mescal is the better part of the film for me. I think that he is definitely Oscar worthy here. I mean, I remember when this first got nominated, I was like, why did they pick a movie that wasn't even nominated for anything else? But now I can see why. It's a soul crushing performance, but it's also it's funny when it needs to be, and it's heartwarming when it needs to be. But it is definitely soul crushing. Their chemistry is what a large part of what makes this movie as good as it is. And the moments that they share together, it feels like watching a real father and daughter, or father and child, and it is very, very special to watch. But that's also due to the incredible script that they have. The dialogue in this movie feels so real. It feels like you are actually kind of watching this interaction really unfold.
And when I read the synopsis too, how she was looking back with videotapes, I was very worried that it was just going to be all like that 90s videotape kind of static stuff. But I'm really glad they did not go in that direction, but only show a couple of scenes in that when they get the camcorder and everything, because I think it would have taken away from the beauty of this resort that they're at, and the beauty between the father and the daughter as well.
Yeah, I actually think that the camcorder stuff is very necessary,
Hmm.
because a lot of the film is filling in the gaps of what wasn't recorded, right?
Hmm.
Because the stuff that's recorded is very different than the stuff that actually happened,
Yes.
and that's a lot of the point, right? Like we don't really know what our friends or family are going through unless we ask or we have some sort of intuition.
Hmm.
And it is a sad fact of life.
Yep.
And before we kind of dive into the heavier stuff, I do want to say that this movie, in terms of the look and the feel, I think perfectly captures the idea of a vacation memory.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Like, this feels like a vacation I would have taken with my parents. I mean, we never
Yeah.
went to a resort like this, but like, it could have been. Like, it
Yeah.
had that 90s feel perfectly
Hmm.
captured.
Yes, yes, it did. Um, I wanted to talk about the camera work in this because
Hmm.
there's a scene, and I know you picked on up on it because you watch film much better than I do. But is when the dad's cutting off his cast, and Sophie is in the room just right next to each other, but Sophie is well lit, and Paul's character is in a gloomy, dark bathroom, and that aspect of she thinks not thinks, but she wants to remember it as sunshine and rainbows when actually something darker is happening behind the wall that's directly behind her. I thought that was shot absolutely gorgeously too, because you get to see both perspectives when Paul is facing you on the camera, on sitting on the toilet trying to get his cast off, but Sophie is facing the window, looking out into the world, kind of a situation. And I really loved how that's when everything starts not to go downhill, but that's when you start to notice different.
When we pick up on it.
Yeah. So I really liked how it started that unfortunate downward spiral.
Yeah, and I don't feel like I need to add anything to that. I think that you did an excellent job of summing up how that starts our intuition of the situation, right? Just visually. There's no dialogue to explain it.
Hmm.
He's in the dark, she's in the light, she's looking forward out the window, he is in his own head or his own space. You nailed it.
Hmm. Hmm.
Perfect. Good job. You get an
Good. Hey.
A. But it lends into kind of like the idea that, I think this movie hits on a couple of different levels. Number one, obviously, when we're growing up as kids, if you're fortunate enough to have at least one of your parents in your life, you, as a child, don't really know what they're going through. You may
Hmm.
have some intuition of what they're going through, or pick up that they might be a little sad at certain points, but they definitely put on a front
Hmm.
to appear as happy as possible.
Oh yeah.
Um, Especially when you're dealing with, like a child of divorce, like this
Hmm.
situation, it sounds like, or a separation. It's definitely. I have not gone through that. I don't think Kevin hasn't gone
No.
through that either, so
No.
we can't speak from experience. But I think that it nails not only how she's feeling in that situation, but how Paul Mescal's character is feeling in that situation,
Hmm.
um, and just visually, but also through the performances.
Yes.
Now, I will say that this film hits a little too close for me.
Okay.
Not because of like my parents going through something, but because I connect with Paul in a lot of ways in this movie.
Hmm.
Um, I struggle with depression and stuff, and
Hmm.
I like to think that I put up a good front to kind of hide that that's happening.
Okay.
But I know people can see through it sometimes, and I definitely have been there.
Hmm.
So it definitely hits pretty close to home in that regard. But that's kind of where, as far as I'm willing to discuss
Yeah.
that. Um, but I want to talk about something that's going to require some spoilers. I
Hmm.
want to talk about the end of this movie.
Yes. Hmm.
Um, I want to get your interpretation of what happened.
So my interpretation of what happened at the end of this movie is some either the dad does something to himself that makes him unalive, or he's just a totally different person that Sophie doesn't want him to see. Um, and it doesn't give us that this is what happened kind of a thing. But when, and I thought, I have to say, I thought this, it was stupid how they were having the flashing lights and everything like that. But at the end of the movie, I understood why they had it, because that is the choppiness of her memory with her dad when he gets older, and how she didn't see everything was sunshine and rainbows. So at the end of the movie, I totally understood what they were going with that. But and I I unfortunately think that depression won with him.
Mhm.
And I hate saying that, because if you, again, this is a tough subject, so if you have anything like that, just go seek help. Absolutely. Like, even talking to somebody about it is absolutely fantastic for you. But that's what I think would happen at the end of the movie, because you don't get anything else after that, after that sequence.
Yeah, it definitely is dealing with exclusive, not exclusive. What's the word I'm thinking of? It's dealing with mental health issues,
Mhm.
for sure. There's a point where he has breakdowns,
Mhm.
which again that hits.
Oh, at the one at the edge of the bed when he's just crying there. Oh my gosh, that one hurt. Like,
Yep,
broke my heart.
I have been there, so
Mm.
I get it. But yeah, I am of the opinion that I think at the end of the movie, he kills himself.
Mhm.
And I think that the way that it's handled, um, is beautiful. And it's weird to say that because of obviously the situation, but
Mhm.
the the one of the last times we see the two of them together is the camcorder footage of her leaving to go on the plane or the train or whatever it is.
Mhm.
um and it's kind of bittersweet because she's walking away, she keeps saying goodbye, and then like the final wave and all that, and then she leaves.
Mhm.
um but then as it kind of moves on, it moves into Sophie as an adult in the club or whatever, and she's getting those flashes of her father.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the movie, we see her watching the camcorder footage. It spins around to him, and he walks down the hallway through the door, never to be seen again.
Mhm.
It kind of feels like the light at the end of the tunnel, kind of a thing. Leaving the mortal plane or whatever. It's
Mhm.
hard to put into words, but there's something beautiful about it where it's like I was expecting a flash to it, like his feet hanging, or like the aftermath of a shotgun blast or something. Like I was expecting something like that, but I'm glad that they went in a more beautiful route, and
Mhm.
I think that they handled it very well.
Well, because they also played with your heartstrings a little bit too, because at one point he is standing on a railing in his boxers, and but then he starts doing his tai chi that he's been learning, or he looks behind him. I forget which one it is. So it gives you the every time it goes on him alone, I'm like, what is he gonna do? Because I know something was gonna happen, but again, the way you said it, it's a beautiful way to do something horrible. And it's just, it was the correct thing, because I wouldn't want it to be a morbid thing, because the last thing that Sophie saw in that videotape was a good memory of her and her dad. But as her dad sees it, it's a good memory that turned bad as soon as she got on the plane or train that she took. And it was kind of his last goodbye to her, which is absolutely heart. Mm, hated that. But it's just, it happens, unfortunately. And it's just the way, again, like again you said, the way they showed it was magnificent.
Yeah, it's very well handled, and as someone who suffers from depression, I think that it was a very positive, at the end of the day, depiction of it. Not positively. It was handled wonderfully. That's kind of where I'll leave it.
It wasn't too morbid. It
It
was.
didn't trivialize it. It didn't like, it didn't, make it seem, bad or anything. It just
Mhm.
was, it was handled well. So I think that for me, it's one of those movies. It's going to be tough for me to watch this again.
Mhm.
Um, but I really did enjoy this movie.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
all throughout.
Yes.
Alrighty, so this was my pick this week. I'll go ahead and go first, and I think that I really love this movie. I think that the ending is very powerful, and I was moved just about to tears watching this movie. It's a very intimate look at a relationship, foundational memory for one person, and the final memory for another, which or more towards the final memory of someone else. So really, really love this movie. The performances are beautiful. The cinematography, the score, the script, everything is on a really high level. So for me, I gave the film a 96 out of 100. So I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the dialogue in this movie. It's not too dialogue heavy, and it's not too wordy as well. And what I mean by that is it sounds like there are father and daughter just chit-chatting it up while a camera is on them without having any script, it feels like. So it seems very natural to me. What's it called? The camera work is absolutely fantastic, like I talked about with the dark and warm and dark side to it, and how it is placed differently, and how you get those shots sometimes of him being alone and thinking his depression is taking over. We didn't talk about the rug scene where he's just standing in the rug store, just leaning against the rugs, and he's depressed, but he doesn't want to show Sophie that. And it hits. I mean, it doesn't hit home like Garrett does, but you get those moments sometimes, even if you're not diagnosed with depression or anything. You get those down moments, and I could simulate with him a lot of the times, because not everybody's perfect, and we have those moments. This is a beautiful way of showing those moments, even if you aren't diagnosed with depression or anything like that. So I think I gave it the same one, a 96 out of 100, 4.5 stars out of 5.
Well, there you go. So now the question falls to you. What do you think of Aftersun? Go ahead and leave those comments in the section down below. But remember to be respectful of one another, because it's really not that hard. But next week, we are starting our June month-long theme of looking at Venice Film Festival Best Picture winners. And we are starting with the sports drama, The Wrestler. So that's going to be next week. So make sure to watch it before then, so you're not spoiled. But thank you so much for watching. Of course, we have this show every single Friday at 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or 4 a.m. And then we have our live stream every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, make sure to keep those eyes on the screen.